On a snowy evening, a young, hungry, and freezing boy huddled on the side of the road. Suddenly, a light shone on him. The man standing before him was the contractor for the Sunshine City project. He led the boy to the construction site's canteen, and while they ate, even carefully placed a fried egg on his plate. The little boy felt a surge of warmth. Later that day, the man took him to the police station to try and find his family, but no one had reported a missing child. The boy himself had no memories of his family. So the man decided to adopt him and named him Ho Woo. Without parents, Ho Woo was often bullied. He only had two close friends, Yo Jin, whom he met at the construction site canteen, and Hee Sam. From a young age, Ho Woo dreamed of becoming a police officer. He was quick and agile. When classmates teased Yo Jin and Hee Sam, he would jump to their defense and chase the bullies away. Although Mr. Jang, the man who adopted him, disapproved of Ho Woo's fighting, he would become furious whenever he heard anyone taunt the boy about being an orphan. Mr. Jang was the president of Sunshine Construction, the company that invented and patented a construction module. This invention saved money and sped up the building process, allowing them to live comfortably. Whenever he had free time, Ho Woo would go to the construction site to help out. One day, an auditor unexpectedly arrived. Ho Woo overheard the auditor say that the building would be demolished anyway, so it didn't matter what figures they entered in their report. Ho Woo didn't understand, but he still told Mr. Jang. However, Mr. Jang was busy and didn't pay him much attention. Not long after, Ho Woo saw news of Sunshine Construction's bankruptcy on TV. The auditor was from Tail accounting firm. He immediately ran to the construction site, which was now in chaos. Ho Woo jumped into the fray, fighting to protect the site. That's when Sung Jo from Tail Accounting appeared. He held up the audit report, stating that even if Ho Woo beat up everyone there, he couldn't change the fact that Sunshine Construction was bankrupt. Ho Woo was still young and didn't understand what bankruptcy meant. All he knew was that the workers depended on this construction project for their livelihood. He confronted Sung Jo, demanding to know who he was. Sung Jo told Ho Woo that they were the ones who held the company's fate in their hands, and that no matter what Ho Woo did, he was powerless to change the outcome. That evening, the workers suddenly came to find Ho Woo. They had all received money from Mr. Jang. Ho Woo rushed out to find him, but he was too late. Mr. Jang had jumped from the top floor of the building. Ho Woo could only hold his lifeless body and cry in anguish. He wanted to understand why Mr. Jang had chosen to take his own life. He started studying the audit report. Unable to understand it, he went to the accounting department for help. However, no one would give him any answers. He realized he was on his own. So, Ho Woo resolved to become an accountant. He skipped college, and, after graduating high school, immediately began studying to become a certified public accountant (CPA). After 4 grueling years of intense study, Ho Woo successfully joined Tail Accounting Firm. A high school graduate amongst a sea of highly educated professionals, he clearly wasn't on the same wavelength as everyone else. His presence at the new employee training session caused quite a stir. The vice president, giving a speech on stage, remained impassive despite the commotion below. After the session, he immediately summoned his assistant and demanded to know how a high school graduate managed to get into Korea's top accounting firm. To his surprise, he learned that his son was responsible. Jae-gyun was speechless. At that very moment, the CEO of an entertainment company called him, pleading for help. It turned out that Chairman Lee of Sangha Group had initially invested in People Entertainment and arranged for his spoiled son to work there. However, the son was incompetent and prone to running to his father for every little problem. He took a significant chunk of the company's funds and made a risky investment, losing everything. With the audit looming, if the numbers didn't add up, it would expose his embezzlement. Jae-gyun took Young Woo to meet Chairman Lee. Chairman Lee, a man of little talent who inherited his position, was desperate to protect his son. He blamed others for the losses and proposed that Sangha Group acquire People Entertainment, hoping to bury the embezzlement scandal. Jae-gyun rejected this foolish plan. The best solution was to ensure People Entertainment passed the audit. Then, they could stabilize the company with a capital injection, and then acquire it. This approach would avoid any legal issues and potentially even yield a substantial profit. Therefore, the priority was getting People Entertainment through the audit, which was being conducted by Tail. Jae-gyun assured Chairman Lee that he would handle it. Chairman Lee, having witnessed Jae-gyun's abilities in the past, placed his full trust in him. 3 years prior, Jae-gyun had helped him out of a similar predicament. Meanwhile, at Tail, Senior Auditor Kang was in charge of the People Entertainment audit. A seasoned professional, he quickly discovered the misappropriation of funds. This placed him in a difficult position. Regardless of his decision, the consequences would be significant. Approving the audit would violate his professional ethics, while rejecting it would implicate many people. Back at Tail, Jejun and Hyung-woo returned. Jejun knew Kang Hyun was a man of principle and would likely fail people entertainment. So he sent Hyung-woo to discreetly persuade Kang Hyun to turn a blind eye to the irregularities. However, Kang Hyun wasn't easily swayed. He had been Hyung-woo's mentor when he first started at Tail. Their paths, however, had diverged. Kang Hyun was a man of unwavering principles, while Hyung-woo was more pragmatic. Ho-woo's start at Tail wasn't smooth either. No one wanted him on their team, and even when he actively tried to join one, he was ignored. A senior colleague was giving the recruits a tour of the firm. When they reached the deals department where Han Sung-jo worked, she pointedly emphasized that it was the most challenging department in the company, implying that recruits weren't assigned there. Ho-woo knew Sung-jo worked there, but he didn't see him. As soon as Ho-woo left, Sung-jo appeared. Sung-jo's father was Vice President Han, and their relationship was strained. Jejun was deeply dissatisfied with his son for recruiting a high school graduate. Sung-jo, however, remained indifferent. He considered his father a ruthless opportunist and, by extension, disliked Hyung-woo for being associated with him. Sung-jo warned his father to be careful about using him, suggesting he might become an obstacle in his path. Everyone knew Sung-jo's background, and many in the company harbored resentment and jealousy towards him. Sung-jo, however, paid them no mind. Meanwhile, Ho-woo, left with nothing to do, overheard a colleague frantically calling for documents. He immediately volunteered to help, only to be met with a cold rebuff. The atmosphere was incredibly awkward. Sung-jo happened to witness this exchange and headed to the rooftop for a smoke. Ho-woo followed him, and the two finally came face to face. To Ho-woo's surprise, Sung-jo explained why he was being ostracized. It wasn't entirely due to his lack of education. The most crucial factor for auditors was risk assessment. They evaluated the potential return on investment from each new recruit. Ho-woo, a high school graduate with unproven abilities, no team experience, and no senior colleague to vouch for him, was seen as a liability. No one wanted to risk their performance by taking him on their team. This unspoken rule was never explicitly explained to recruits. Sung-jo's words were a wake-up call for Ho-woo. After work, the three friends gathered. Yo-jin had successfully become a police trainee, while Sam had opened a small bar. The next day at Tail, Ho-woo set out to prove his worth. He cleaned and organized documents, refilled the printer, helped colleagues with printing, and kept everything tidy and efficient. He even embraced the nickname, Jang the Errand Boy. This puzzled Sung-jo. He had recruited Ho-woo, so if anyone was going to be giving him menial tasks, it should have been him. And so, Ho-woo continued to prove himself through diligent work, believing that being noticed, even for menial tasks, was better than being ignored. Sung-jo, intrigued, asked Ho-woo why he insisted on staying at Tail. Ho-woo simply replied that he had his reasons. He then turned the question back on Sung-jo, asking why he was helping him. Sung-jo, evasive, said he saw potential in Ho-woo. Though currently lacking in value, he believed Ho-woo could become a valuable asset. He then offered Ho-woo a spot on his team. To Sung-jo's surprise, Ho-woo flatly refused. His reasoning was simple. He assessed Sung-jo as being more risk than reward. Sung-jo was momentarily taken aback. Meanwhile, Jejun was still scheming to become chairman. His rival was Sung-yeon. To gather intel, Jejun hired several deaf individuals skilled in lip reading to work as janitorial staff. Unaware of their abilities, employees openly gossiped and even revealed that Sung-yeon had a heart condition and was considering resigning. One employee wrote this information on a coffee cup and slipped it to Jae-gyun. He felt victory was within his grasp. The People Entertainment audit was nearing completion, pending bank confirmation. Although Kang Hyun felt uneasy about the financials, Jae-gyun, ever the manipulator, seeing Kang Hyun's reluctance to comply, secretly fabricated supporting documents. Unable to find any discrepancies, Kang Hyun was forced to approve the audit. However, to be safe, Jae-gyun ordered Hyung-woo to plant someone on Kang Hyun's team to monitor the situation. The bank was delaying sending the confirmation, infuriating Kang Hyun, who berated his subordinates for their incompetence. His team members insisted they had visited the bank multiple times, even shadowing the bank employee responsible for the confirmation. Still, the bank wouldn't cooperate. Seeing an opportunity, Ho-woo volunteered to handle it. Coincidentally, Yeon-a, a colleague, was also heading in that direction, giving Ho-woo a convenient ride. Ho-woo, of course, had already planned this. As expected, the bank employee initially dismissed Ho-woo, claiming to be too busy. Undeterred, Ho-woo transformed himself into an efficiency expert, rapidly streamlining the bank's workflow. Unable to use the busy excuse any longer, and with closing time approaching, the employee told Ho Woo to come back the next day. Anticipating this, Ho Woo had already prepared the confirmation document, requiring only the bank's stamp. The data on the document was public information. If there were any discrepancies, the bank could refuse to stamp it. However, if the information matched their records, refusing to stamp it would raise serious questions and create a much bigger problem for them. Hearing this, the bank employee reluctantly stamped the document. The next day, Sang Hyun was asking Ho Woo for help printing some documents when Hyun Woo suddenly asked him to recommend someone for Kang Hyun's team. Sang Hyun suggested Ho Woo. Kang Hyun was surprised to see the bank confirmation and went to thank Ho Woo. Hyun Woo witnessed this exchange. Realizing Ho Woo had caught Kang Hyun's attention, Hyun Woo then approached Kang Hyun, suggesting he officially accepted Ho Woo onto his team, reasoning that Ho Woo had solved a difficult problem for them and deserved recognition. This raised Kang Hyun's suspicion. He knew Hyun Woo had planted someone to monitor him, but he couldn't find a reason to refuse. Ho Woo continued doing odd jobs around the office, so no one found it unusual when he was searching for documents. He began investigating the Sunshine construction files, only to find the relevant box empty. Clearly, something wasn't right. At that moment, Yeon A arrived. Their eyes met briefly. Jae-jun was preparing to assign a new case to Sung-jo. After all, he was his son. Sung-jo sarcastically asked his father if he planned to bankrupt another company for Sangha Group, just like he did with Sunshine Construction years ago. Jae-yun was the mastermind behind Sunshine's downfall. He had used Sunshine as a secret warehouse for Sangha, crippling their cash flow. Mr. Jang, believing the fault was his own, and feeling responsible for the losses incurred by suppliers and workers, had taken his own life. By the time Sung-jo received the news and rushed to the site, it was too late. Mr. Jang's daughter was Sung-jo's girlfriend. The tragedy led to their breakup. To Jae-jun, it was a minor inconvenience. In his world, it was survival of the fittest. Seeing his father's lack of remorse, Sung-jo suggested he give the new assignment to Hyun Woo instead, and then go to the rooftop to clear his head. Kang Hyun was there too. As a senior colleague and friend, Kang Hyun knew Sung-jo had brought Ho Woo into the firm, and warned him about Ho Woo being placed on their team by Hyun Woo. Sung-jo told him to play along for now. Hyun Woo summoned Ho Woo to his office. Ho Woo readily stated he would fulfill his surveillance duties diligently. Hyun Woo suddenly asked about Ho Woo's relationship with Sang Hyun, as no one would casually recommend someone they weren't close to. Ho Woo claimed he had merely done a few errands for Sang Hyun, and then professed his loyalty to Hyun Woo. Later, Sung-jo sought out Ho Woo, advising him to stay away from Hyun Woo. Ho Woo, of course, knew Hyun Woo wasn't trustworthy, but he had his agenda. Sung-jo, slightly reassured, was about to leave when he turned back and asked Ho Woo why he trusted him so much. Ho Woo, who maintained a facade of naivete around others, was surprisingly open with Sung-jo. Without waiting for a response, Sung-jo left. Ho Woo, now officially part of the team, immediately delved into People Entertainment's financial reports. He quickly discovered discrepancies in the inventory valuation. This was Jae-jun's handiwork. 2 of People Entertainment's films, yet to be released and currently gathering dust, had been undervalued, making them easy targets for manipulation. Ho Woo investigated further, confirming his suspicions. However, instead of going directly to Kang Hyun, he feigned ignorance, asking colleagues about inventory accounting, subtly raising Kang Hyun's suspicion. Kang Hyun, realizing something was amiss with the financials, discreetly approached Ho Woo to confirm his suspicions. Ho Woo plainly stated that People Entertainment was effectively bankrupt. Kang Hyun immediately confronted CEO Gu. Gu, panicked, dropped to his knees, pleading with Kang Hyun to approve the audit. He explained that Sangha Group was poised to acquire People Entertainment, which would boost the company's stock price and revive its fortunes. Sangha Group would profit, and Tail would gain from the merger. A win-win-win situation. Worried that Kang Hyun wouldn't budge, CEO Gu confessed everything. He revealed that Chairman Lee's son was responsible for the company's losses, and that the acquisition was a bailout orchestrated by Sangha. Furious upon learning the truth, Kang Hyun refused to approve the audit. Desperate, CEO Gu called Jae-jun, who realized he needed to intervene personally. He instructed Hyun Woo to summon Kang Hyun. Hyun Woo first questioned Ho Woo, asking if he'd noticed anything unusual about Kang Hyun. Ho Woo feigned ignorance. Unsuspecting, Hyun Woo brought Kang Hyun to Jae-yun. Dropping all pretense, Jae-yun threatened Kang Hyun with a promotion if he cooperated, and blacklisting from the industry if he didn't. Faced with this ultimatum, Kang Hyun had a difficult decision to make. The People Entertainment audit was complete, pending only his final sign-off. Ho Woo, after filing the documents, sought out Kang Hyun. Kang Hyun lamented the challenges of auditing, observing that no matter how perfect the system, people always found loopholes. He then asked Ho Woo why he wanted to be an auditor. Ho Woo replied that his anger lacked power, and he admired Kang Hyun's righteous indignation, which had the potential to right wrongs. Inspired by Ho Woo's words, Kang Hyun spent the night in his office, ultimately deciding to reject the audit and submitting his resignation. He then met with Ho Woo, explaining that compromising would be like committing professional suicide. Once under Ji Gyun's thumb, there would be no escape. He thanked Ho Woo for helping him see the truth. At that moment, Sung Jo arrived. Kang Hyun, announcing his departure, entrusted Ho Woo's mentorship to Sung Jo. Jae Yoon was furious. The report had been submitted and couldn't be retracted. The acquisition was no longer the issue. The priority now was damage control. A similar report had been approved the previous year. The shareholders would demand an explanation for this year's rejection. They needed a plausible explanation to avoid reputational damage. Jae Yoon had suffered a complete defeat. Hyung Woo, furious, confronted Ho Woo, demanding to know how he'd missed Kang Hyun's actions, despite being tasked with surveillance. Facing Hyung Woo's wrath, Ho Woo insisted he hadn't noticed anything unusual. Hyung Woo, after ranting for a while, eventually gave up. He and Jae Yoon would never know that it was all part of Ho Woo's plan. No one suspected an errand boy with no education or connections. Through printing and shredding documents, Ho Woo became familiar with Tail's data and understood who truly controlled the flow of information. These individuals were key to his plan. To succeed, he needed to gain their trust. Every step Ho Woo took was carefully calculated. Meanwhile, Chairman Lee stormed into Jae Yoon's office, threatening retaliation if his son faced legal consequences. Jae Yoon, calm and collected, assured him he had a solution. His strategy was simple: sacrifice the pawn to save the king. The problem with People Entertainment was that Chairman Lee's son had misappropriated funds. If this could be reframed as a failed investment approved by the board of directors, it would transform embezzlement into a simple business loss. All they needed was a fabricated board resolution from the previous year. This would not only protect Chairman Lee's son, but also shift the blame to People Entertainment, safeguarding Tail's reputation. Jae Yoon, however, avoided getting his own hands dirty. He needed Kang Hyun's team to fabricate the document. If they cooperated, the plan would proceed smoothly. If they refused, he could simply sacrifice them as scapegoats. The auditing firm itself would remain blameless. Only the individual auditors would be held accountable. Hyung Woo quickly moved to manipulate Kang Hyun's former team members. He casually mentioned that if the previous year's board minutes reflected approval of the investment made by Chairman Lee's son, the audit would have to be approved. Those minutes would be in the previous year's audit report. The 4 team members immediately understood. They had 2 choices: admit their mistake and resign like Kang Hyun, or falsify the records to save their jobs. They chose their livelihoods. Knowing the basics of forgery, they went to People Entertainment, found the relevant board documents, and fabricated the minutes that night. Just as Jae Yoon predicted, Tail's reputation remained intact, and they received their payment from People Entertainment. Chairman Lee's son avoided prison. CEO Gu was safe, and the only losers were the shareholders. Watching the celebratory chaos below, Ho Woo felt a pang of unease. He remembered the workers at the construction site. He recalled Hyung Woo's cynical lesson: auditors serve the wealthy. If Ho Woo wanted to succeed in this industry, he shouldn't waste sentiment on futile causes. Yet, a sense of injustice lingered. Chairman Lee's son had caused the problem, yet others were bearing the consequences, while the real victims were forgotten. Jae Yoon assigned Hyung Woo the task of handling the debt. People Entertainment owed over $72 million to Jisen Bank, a debt they couldn't repay. The only solution was to sell it off as bad debt. Ho Woo was studying documents in Hyung Woo's office when Jae Yoon and Hyung Woo walked in. Jae Yoon explained that Jisen Bank would be reluctant to sell the debt at a loss. Having been scammed out of millions by People Entertainment, Jisen's chairman would face intense scrutiny from shareholders. With his term nearing its end, he'd likely try to pass the buck to his successor. For Tail's benefit, they needed to convince Jisen Bank to cooperate. Ho Woo emerged from under the desk, suggesting a solution. People Entertainment had multiple creditors. If Jisen Bank played dead, they could simply approach another bank to sell their bad debt first. This would force Jisen Bank's hand. Seizing upon this idea, Jae Yoon immediately met with Jisen's chairman, laying out the situation. The chairman, understanding the implications, quickly agreed to let Tail handle the debt. Tail now had 3 lucrative deals: liquidating People Entertainment's assets and buying and selling the bad debt from the banks. This would generate a substantial profit for Tail. Jae-gyun started to see Ho-woo in a new light. However, within Tail, the sales team aimed for the highest possible selling price, while Ho-woo's team, the buy side, aimed to buy low. Although colleagues, they were now competitors. Due diligence required transparency and prohibited insider trading, so they had to maintain strict confidentiality. Ho-woo took some contracts to the legal department. Yeon-a, from the sales team, joined him in the elevator. Ho-woo, initially avoiding her, hid in the corner. Yeon-a, exasperated, asked what was wrong with talking to her. Realizing his awkwardness, Ho-woo approached her. As they exited the elevator, Yeon-a accidentally dropped some documents. Ho-woo picked them up, but she had already walked away. The documents contained an analysis of asset valuations. If seen by the buy-side team, they would reveal the lowest acceptable selling price. Yeon-a's team leader reprimanded her for the mistake. Ho-woo tried to return the documents, but was mistaken for a spy from the buy-side and turned away. Through a colleague, he learned that the documents revealed the sales team's bottom line. He realized the gravity of the situation. He managed to slip the documents onto Yeon-a's desk without being seen. Seung-jo witnessed this, initially assuming Ho-woo was as ruthless as Hyung-woo. He was surprised to see Ho-woo maintain his integrity. Yeon-a, relieved to have her documents back, thanked Ho-woo profusely. He repeatedly assured her he hadn't looked at them. She persistently invited him to dinner, but Ho-woo, ever the straight-laced professional, declined. For the buy-side team, the ideal buyer was someone desperate. Jae-yoon and Han Young-woo met with Chairman Lee, who, to their surprise, was no longer interested in acquiring People Entertainment. With his son safe, he saw no need to spend more money. Hyung-woo was furious at this betrayal. Jae-yoon, however, knew Chairman Lee was easily swayed and had anticipated this. Seung-jo, also not one to sit idly by, discovered through his research that Chairman Lee had a much more confident younger brother named Seung-ju. Chairman Lee, always envious of his brother, had ousted him from the company upon becoming chairman. This was their leverage. Seung-jo contacted Sang-ju, proposing a plan to damage Chairman Lee without spending any money, simply by using Sang-ju's reputation. Sang-ju was intrigued. Seung-jo then approached a director at Jisan Bank, suggesting they replace the bad debt with older, harder-to-collect debts. He claimed to have a buyer willing to pay a premium for these debts. In return, he asked for exclusive access to future Jisan Bank deals with Tail. The bank director readily agreed. Hyung-woo, learning about the change in debt composition, was furious and immediately informed Jae-yoon. Jae-yoon demanded to know what Seung-jo was up to. Seung-jo calmly assured his father that Chairman Lee would buy the debt, even if it was now worthless, because the real prize was the right to inspect People Entertainment's financial records. Jae-yoon instantly understood. Whoever acquired People Entertainment would gain access to their financials, exposing Chairman Lee's son's misdeeds. If Sang-ju bid on the debt, Chairman Lee would be forced to outbid him at any cost. Pleased with his son's maneuvering, Jae-yoon informed Chairman Lee of the situation. Panicked, Chairman Lee realized that if Sang-ju acquired the debt, they would be ruined. He ordered Hyung-woo to win the bid at all costs. Seung-jo, after some consideration, approached Hyung-woo, requesting to transfer Ho-woo to his team. Upon hearing this, Ho-woo immediately sought out Seung-jo, confessing that he had joined Hyung-woo's team for a specific purpose. Seung-jo revealed that the buy-side team was about to face serious trouble, and that Ho-woo, alone on that team, would be vulnerable. If something went wrong, even the most meticulous plan would fail. Ho-woo reluctantly agreed to the transfer. The day of the auction arrived. To be safe, Hyung-woo changed his initial bid from $58 million to $60 million. Seung-jo and Ho-woo, however, left their bid sheet blank, planning to fill it out at the auction venue. This was to prevent Chairman Lee, who had arranged for cars to surround them, from interfering. Upon arrival, Seung-jo got out of the car, ready to confront the men blocking their way. Ho-woo quickly intervened. Taking advantage of the distraction, Chairman Lee's men snatched the bid sheet and reported back, only to find it blank. It doesn't matter, Chairman Lee gloated, confident they wouldn't make it to the auction. However, Ho-woo, always prepared, had a backup plan. He had arranged for a decoy bid sheet to be delivered to the auction by someone disguised as a delivery driver. He then enlisted Hee-sam's help to block Chairman Lee's cars while he took a shortcut, arriving at the auction just in time. Chairman Lee, livid, was determined to win at any cost. He insisted that $60 million was acceptable, and that arbitrarily increasing the bid might cost them even more in the long run. Ignoring this advice, He changed the bid to $90 million. Jae-jun, delighted, told Hyung-woo not to dissuade him. The more Chairman Lee spent, the more they profited. As Hyung-woo predicted, the highest competing bid was $54.9 million. His initial $58 million bid would have been more than sufficient. Sung-jo's bid was a mere $33 million. Chairman Lee had overpaid by over $35 million. Sung-jo approached Chairman Lee, feigning congratulations. The chairman stormed off. Sung-jo expected his father to be furious, but found him surprisingly pleased. As a father, Jae-yoon was proud of his son's shrewd maneuvering. As vice president, he was even more delighted. They had protected the firm's reputation and made a substantial profit. The client's problem was solved. The director from Jisun Bank was equally pleased, showering Sung-jo with praise. He then revealed that Sung-jo had also been involved in the Sunshine Construction deal years ago. Ho-woo was stunned. Sung-jo was the one behind it all. Enraged, Ho-woo confronted Sung-jo, demanding an explanation. He argued that an auditing firm's role was to assess a company's viability based on whether its operating value exceeded its liquidation value. Profitability should be paramount. He pointed out that Sunshine Construction's operating value had clearly been higher. Tail, or rather Sung-jo, had unjustly driven Sunshine into bankruptcy. Faced with Ho-woo's accusations, Sung-jo remained silent, instead asking why Ho-woo was so fixated on the past. It was over, and nothing could change it. Ho-woo finally revealed his true motive. He had joined TEL to find Sunshine Construction's audit report from that year. If the report had been legitimate, it should have been archived. The fact that it was missing proved something was wrong. Ho-woo vowed to get justice. Whoever had orchestrated Sunshine's downfall would pay. Sung-jo scoffed, asking how Ho-woo planned to achieve that. Ho-woo simply replied, "Never underestimate someone with nothing left to lose." Sung-jo returned home, haunted by the memory of Mr. Jang's suicide, Ho-woo's devastation, and Ji-soo's inconsolable grief. He collapsed in despair. Fortunately, a colleague arrived with medication, helping him stabilize. Chairman Lee, furious about being outmaneuvered, blamed Hyung-woo and threatened to destroy his career. Hyung-woo immediately groveled, begging for forgiveness and pledging his loyalty. Chairman Lee eventually relented. Back at TEL, Hyung-woo received more bad news. Sung-jo was being promoted for his role in the People Entertainment deal. He felt betrayed by Jae-yoon, but was powerless to resist. Jae-yoon, seeing Hyung-woo's compliance, promised to make him a partner. Hyung-woo, back in his office, erupted in a fit of rage, ordering Yeon-a to bring him every profitable deal. He was determined to climb the corporate ladder, no matter the cost. Sung-jo's dealings with Jisun Bank were motivated by his desire to save Som Tech, a company similar to Sunshine Construction. Som Tech was struggling but undergoing restructuring, with the potential for a turnaround. This project was initially Hyung-woo's, now snatched by Sung-jo. While Ho-woo and his friends were having dinner, a news report announced that Sangha Group was using Mr. Jang's research to build Korea's first modular building. This had been Mr. Jang's dream, now stolen by Chairman Lee. Yo-jin suddenly recalled that Ji-soo's boyfriend had wanted to marry her, but his family disapproved. Ji-soo had waited, hoping for their acceptance. After Mr. Jang's death, she disappeared without a trace. Sung-jo, still deeply missing Ji-soo, often reminisced about their happy times together. He approached Ho-woo, offering him the Sunshine Construction audit report in exchange for joining his team. Ho-woo agreed. Meanwhile, Jae-jun was pushing for Sung-jo's promotion, which Hyung-woo was determined to prevent. Feigning agreement, he secretly met with Jae-jun, claiming to have contacted HK Investment Fund, who were interested in acquiring Som Tech, potentially generating even greater profits. He argued that this success would bolster his partnership prospects and help Ji-gyun secure the chairmanship. Jae-jun, tempted, arranged a meeting between Hyung-woo and the director of Jisun Bank. From the bank's perspective, if Som Tech remained operational, they would recover their loan. Hyung-woo's proposal offered them a substantial profit, and with TEL providing the financial reports, their reputation would be protected. The director immediately agreed with Jae-gyun's approach. The bank director approached Hyung-woo, expressing concern about how to explain this change of plans to Sung-jo. Given their prior agreement, Hyung-woo advised him to simply blame the decision on upper management, claiming it was a directive from above. The bank director, finding this reasonable, complied. Meanwhile, Ho-woo and Yeon visited Som Tech. Ho-woo was stunned to see that the engineer presenting the technology bore a striking resemblance to Mr. Jang. Yeon-a, misinterpreting his reaction, teased him for staring. Assuming his attention was directed at her, she was infatuated with Sung-jo. Ho-woo chuckled, not bothering to correct her. Unaware of the betrayal, Sung-jo dedicated himself to the Som Tech audit, ultimately recommending continued operation. Upon completion, Ho-woo finally obtained the last page of the Sunshine Construction audit report. He discovered two versions, one with a barcode and one without. The content differed significantly. One recommended continued operation, the other, liquidation. Every tail employee had a unique barcode that automatically registered whenever they printed or copied a document, allowing for easy tracking. Only partners, or those authorized by them, could print without a barcode. The fact that Sunshine Construction had been liquidated, despite the initial recommendation for continued operation, meant the report had been tampered with. Suspecting Ji-jun and Sung-jo's involvement, Ho-woo confronted Sung-jo. Sung-jo not explain, told him to find the answers himself, then went to see his father. Ji-jun instructed Sung-jo to prepare a liquidation report for Som Tech and to hand the project over to Hyung-woo. Sung-jo refused, presenting his report recommending continued operation. Ji-jun, unfazed, claimed to have already made arrangements. Sung-jo was furious. This was exactly what had happened with Sunshine Construction. Deeply invested in Sunshine, Mr. Jang's company, Sung-jo had personally conducted the audit and written a report recommending continued operation. However, grieving his mother's death, he had entrusted his seemingly trustworthy father to submit the report. Jae-jun had switched it, leading to Sunshine's bankruptcy. When Sung-jo confronted his father, Jae-jun dismissed Sunshine's demise, claiming that Sangha Group's interests were paramount. He justified his actions as being for Sung-jo's benefit, telling him to accept reality. He applied the same logic to Som Tech, prioritizing profit above all else. He instructed Sung-jo to hand the project over to Hyung-woo, who had proposed selling Som Tech to HK Investment Fund. This time, however, Sung-jo defied his father. He then went to confront Hyung-woo, with Ho-woo following close behind. Sung-jo, upon finding Hyung-woo, demanded to know why he engaged in such dirty tactics. Hyung-woo declared his unwavering ambition to become a partner at Betrayal, no matter the cost. Sung-jo then revealed that Hyung-woo was the one who had altered the Sunshine Construction report. Hyung-woo, feeling wronged, claimed he had no choice. He was simply following orders from above. He too wanted to be a good person, but felt compelled to climb the corporate ladder to avoid being a pawn in others' games. Sung-jo understood people like his father and Hyung-woo. Even as partners, they would continue using underhanded tactics to protect their interests. He was determined to stop Hyung-woo's promotion. Hyung-woo, enraged, lashed out at Sung-jo, insisting he wasn't wrong, just doing what he thought was best. Sung-jo pointed out the devastating consequences of his actions on innocent people. Ho-woo, ashamed, realized he had misjudged Sung-jo. He had assumed Sung-jo was the mastermind and had antagonized him, but Sung-jo understood his actions. He admitted his guilt in the misunderstanding. The two reconciled over drinks. After Sung-jo fell asleep, Ho-woo saw a picture of him and Ji-soo, finally understanding the full story. With the misunderstanding resolved, Sung-jo gave Ho-woo his original Sunshine Construction report. He saw a reflection of his younger self in Ho-woo. He then asked Ho-woo why he was investigating the people behind Sunshine's downfall. Ho-woo replied that he wanted them to face justice. Sung-jo, sharing the same goal, suggested they work together. Hyung-woo, recalling Ho-woo's reaction to the mention of Sunshine Construction, ordered an investigation into his background. Discovering his connection to Mr. Jang, he panicked and threatened Ho-woo. Ho-woo, however, was emboldened by Hyung-woo's reaction, confirming his suspicions. The day of the meeting with the HK Investment Fund arrived. Jae-jun knew the fund's representative, Jang, was a formidable negotiator. He'd heard that when she wore her sword brooch, she was unstoppable, and warned Hyung-woo to tread carefully. At the meeting, Ho-woo was stunned to discover that Jang was his older sister, Ji-soo. Jae-yun and Sung-jo were equally shocked. During the meeting, Ho-woo argued that Som Tech, if allowed to continue operating, was fully capable of repaying its debts. He opposed liquidation. Ji-soo criticized Ho-woo's plan as naive and sentimental, typical of someone accustomed to relying on others. She questioned why she should take on the risk for someone so oblivious to the realities of the business world. Jae-gyun recalled Ji-soo tearfully pleading with him years ago, only to be dismissed. He assumed she was seeking revenge. After the meeting, Sung-jo abruptly pulled Ji-soo onto the rooftop. She rebuffed him, vowing never to forget what he had done. The Ji-soo he knew was gone, lost in the aftermath of her father's death. She demanded to be addressed by her professional name, Jang. Ho-woo waited for Ji-soo in the lobby, asking why she had disappeared. She said she couldn't explain now, but would later. He then approached Sung-jo, having seen their picture together, and asked if he would abandon her. Jae-jun informed Hyung-woo of Jisoo's identity. Hyung-woo was alarmed. Anticipating drama, Jae-jun decided to probe the situation. Sung-jo went to Jisoo's hotel, repeatedly knocking on her door, but she ignored him. Jae-jun and Hyung-woo arrived. Sung-jo warned them to stay away from her. Jae-yun, ignoring the warning, simply entered her room code, and the door opened. Jisoo, facing Jae-yun, insisted on discussing business only. Jae-yun, getting nowhere, prepared to leave. Jisoo then asked him to show some respect. Jae-jun, bowing deeply, left. Distressed by Jisoo's situation, Ho-woo sought solace in alcohol. Yo-jin comforted him, and he eventually fell asleep on her shoulder. Secretly in love with Ho-woo, Yo-jin's heart raced at this unexpected intimacy. Back home, Sung-jo ordered an investigation into Jisoo. Learning of her impressive rise from errand girl to a key player in the finance world, he was told she had attracted considerable attention. He immediately went to his father, demanding he back off. Jae-jun ignored him. Hyung-woo, not one to wait passively, instructed the bank to freeze Som Tech's accounts, leaving them unable to pay their employees and further weakening their position, making them a prime candidate for bankruptcy court. Even if Jisoo backed out, finding another buyer would be easier. Ho-woo asked Yan, a YHK investment fund, wouldn't acquire Som Tech directly, instead of going through the lengthy bankruptcy process. Yan A explained that this was a common tactic. Acquiring a company directly meant inheriting its liabilities, including outstanding taxes. The bankruptcy court, however, cleared these debts, making the acquisition much cleaner and often exploited for this purpose. Sung-jo believed Som Tech's only hope was a new capital injection. However, thanks to Hyung-woo's machinations, no bank was willing to lend. Sung-jo decided to give up. Ho-woo, believing they should fight until the end, was disappointed by Sung-jo's easy surrender. He rushed to Som Tech, only to find an employee with a gasoline can, threatening to set fire to Jisun Bank. Jae-jun, remembering Jisoo's past pleas, assumed she was deliberately obstructing the deal. He felt reassured when a senior executive at HK Investment Fund confirmed Jisoo's status as a top performer and their high expectations for the Som Tech acquisition. He told Hyung-woo not to worry. If Jisoo had other intentions, she would have acted by now. Unbeknownst to them, Jisoo had anticipated this. She had contacted her superior, asking him to lie for her. He agreed, telling her to do whatever benefited the fund, and reminding her that someone was waiting for her back in Hong Kong. Ho-woo approached Jisoo, proposing to open source Som Tech's technology to attract new investors. Jisoo rejected this, arguing that such a move, if successful, would set a bad precedent, encouraging other struggling companies to do the same. Eliminating Som Tech was simpler. Switching to personal matters, Ho-woo assured Jisoo that neither she nor Sung-jo was to blame for their father's death. He showed her Sung-jo's original report, revealing the truth. Sung-jo, learning of Ho-woo's conversation with Jisoo, began brainstorming solutions. He quickly devised a plan, mortgaged Som Tech's patents to the patent office to secure a loan to repay the debt. Once they recovered financially, they could reclaim the patents. Until then, a small fee would allow the continued use of the technology. Som Tech's CEO agreed to Sung-jo's plan. Ho-woo, visiting Som Tech to inform the CEO, found him collapsed on the floor with a bottle of pills nearby. This scene was eerily reminiscent of Mr. Jang's death. He immediately called for help. Jisoo visited her father's memorial, where Ho-woo joined her. He revealed the truth about Sunshine Construction, exposing Jae-jun as the culprit, with Jisun Bank's complicity. He then reassured her that Som Tech's CEO had survived. It was a relapse of a pre-existing condition, not a suicide attempt. The CEO, unlike their father, was fighting to the end. Ho-woo expressed his determination to save Som Tech, inspired by a previous conversation with Yan A. Ho-woo thanked her, causing her to blush. Ho-woo's approach mirrored Sung-jo's. When he arrived at the patent office, he was informed that someone from Tail had already been there. He realized Sung-jo was also fighting for Som Tech. Meanwhile, Jae-jun, still unaware of these developments, believed that once the bank documents were stamped and presented to the court, Som Tech would be finished. He coached the CEO on what to say, framing the acquisition as a rescue by the HK Investment Fund. These shameless words reminded Jisoo of Ho-woo's accusations. Suddenly, the bank director received a call. Som Tech had repaid its debt. Sung-jo arrived, confirming the repayment. Ho-woo arrived with the completed mortgage documents, securing Som Tech's continued operation. The Jisun Bank director was furious, demanding to know why Jae-gyun's people were undermining each other. Jae-gyun, equally disappointed in his son, was rebuked by Sung-jo, who reminded him that what happened to Sunshine Construction was enough. Afterward, Seung-jo apologized to Ji-soo, but she refused to forgive him. He insisted she direct her anger at him, not herself, and removed her sword brooch, saying it would only hurt her. Ji-soo said she didn't have much time. Someone was waiting for her. Jae-yoon and Hong-woo returned to Taeil, where they were met by An Sung-yeon, who announced his recovery and returned to work. The two rivals immediately clashed. Sung-yeon was planning his revenge. While celebrating with Ho-woo, Seung-jo expressed concern. Som Tech's survival was a reprieve. They had recklessly borrowed against their research funding, without considering their long-term financial stability. Auditors weren't saviors, but rather guardians of proper financial management. Yeon-a arrived with documents, and Seung-jo, observing her friendly interaction with Ho-woo, thought they made a good match. Ho-woo questioned Ji-soo about joining HK Investment Fund, the firm that had stolen Mr. Jang's patents. Ji-soo, claiming personal reasons, urged him to do nothing, but Ho-woo insisted he could help. Ji-soo finally revealed that she had traced the investment in HK Investment Fund, made after acquiring Mr. Jang's patents, back to An Sung-yeon. Sung-yeon, discovering that Ji-jun's biggest client was Jisun Bank, had launched an investigation, creating an opportunity for the audit department to conduct an external audit of the bank. This would force the consulting department to withdraw from all Jisun Bank dealings. Their rivalry attracted shareholder attention, leading to a meeting where both presented their arguments. Sung-yeon focused on auditing principles, while Jae-yoon emphasized financial implications. 42% of Taeil's revenue came from consulting, and 34% from auditing. Shifting all Jisun Bank business to the audit department would drastically reduce Taeil's revenue. The shareholders, prioritizing profit, sided with Jae-yoon. Despite his defeat, Sung-yeon vowed that the audit department would minimize the consulting department's involvement. Jae-yoon responded hypocritically, saying they were all one big family and should share the wealth. In the elevator, Yeon-a encountered Director Jin. Ho-woo teased her about going to the 10th floor to see Seung-yeon. Yeon-a denied it, and Director Jin smiled knowingly. It turned out Yeon-a was his daughter. Meanwhile, Ji-soo was investigating An Sung-yeon, suspecting a secret connection between her and the Jisun Bank director. Sung-yeon was reviewing Jisun Bank's audit reports, while Ho-woo, suspecting Sung-yeon's involvement in the Sunshine case, plastered her picture on his office window. Ji-soo approached Jae-yoon, offering him double the usual fee to sell An's KKB chain of stores. Jae-yoon accepted, and after she left, he made a secretive phone call, assigning the task to Sung-min. Ho-woo and Yeon-a were also assigned to the project. Seung-jo confronted Seung-yeon about her conflict with his father. She claimed Jae-yoon had initiated the hostilities and advised Seung-jo to see the bigger picture for a more objective assessment. She also mentioned Ho-woo as an interesting recruit. Seung-jo was unaware that she had previously tried to persuade Ho-woo to quit, resenting him for being used by Jae-yoon. Ho-woo pleaded with her for another chance, promising to help her bring down Jae-yoon. Seung-jo was promoted to director, much to Hyung-woo's envy. Ho-woo informed Seung-jo that the KKB project was Ji-soo's. Seung-jo immediately sought her out, urging her to give the project to another firm and avoid any involvement with his father. Ji-soo brushed him off. Resigned, Seung-jo called Seung-min, taking over the project himself. His colleague Jae-hwan continued to antagonize Ho-woo, who remained baffled by his hostility. After a meeting, Ho-woo asked Seung-jo if his change of heart was due to Ji-soo. He didn't answer, instead pointing out their lack of information on the HK Investment Fund. He couldn't penetrate their organizational structure and was curious about Ji-soo's involvement. Remembering Ji-soo mentioning her reasons, Ho-woo sought information on HK Investment Funds, investors from Yeon-a. She explained that private equity funds like HK Investment had limited partners LPs, the investors, and general partners JPs, the managers. Ho-woo wanted to know the LPs' identities, but Yeon-a explained that the fund structure was designed to conceal their identities. To help Ho-woo, Yeon-a asked her father about the LPs, using her desire for a romantic relationship as a pretext. Ho-woo's team conducted an on-site inspection. Seung-jo discovered discrepancies in the financial reports and confronted the company representative, Miss Baek, who claimed Ji-soo had orchestrated everything. Ho-woo sensed something was amiss with Seung-jo, but couldn't pinpoint the problem. Jae-hwan, inspecting a cold storage facility, wore a coat but didn't offer one to Ho-woo, who nearly froze. Back at the office, Ho-woo, still chilled, left some documents behind. Yeon-a, finding them, continued her subtle pursuit of him. She called him, asking his whereabouts. Ho-woo was having dinner with Yo-jin. Unfazed, Yan-A joined them. She told Ho-woo that Jae-hwan's wife had been passed over for a promotion due to her maternity leave. This deal was crucial for her, explaining Jae-hwan's antagonism. As they continued drinking, Yan-A, slightly drunk, revealed that Chairman Lee was one of HK Investment Fund's investors, then passed out. Ho-woo, oblivious to the romantic opportunity, asked Yo-jin to look after Yan-A. She refused, telling him to handle it himself. He took Yan-A home, and then delved into this new information, realizing the situation was more complex than he'd imagined. With Jisoo investigating and Sung-yeon, he decided to investigate Chairman Lee. Meanwhile, Jisoo took Hyung-woo to the site of their father's death. A shaken Hyung-woo agreed to do her a favor to alleviate his guilt. Chairman Lee was furious. Sangha Group's properties weren't selling, finding brokers was difficult, and the company was out of funds. With Jisun Bank refusing further loans, he demanded solutions from his staff, and Sung-yeon arrived, offering to handle the audit in exchange for solving his financial problems. Chairman Lee was tempted. In the elevator, Ho-woo encountered Jae-gyun, who asked for his best sales strategy, promising a performance bonus in return. Ho-woo suggested Sangha Group as the ideal buyer. Acquiring the KKB stores would attract merchants, and adding support services would boost property sales, solving Sangha's financial woes. Jae-jun, seeing the merit in this, presented the idea to Chairman Lee. Hyung-woo, alone, couldn't persuade him. Chairman Lee was leaning toward and Sung-yeon's offer. Jae-jun then pointed out that an audit could expose all of Sangha's dealings. If Sung-yeon uncovered anything incriminating, it would be disastrous. Alarmed, Chairman Lee immediately rejected Sung-yeon's offer. Jae-jun had neutralized a rival and secured a buyer in one move. Yan-A and Ho-woo discovered that KKB stores use pre-freezing technology. Miss Baek pressed them to finalize the deal quickly. Ho-woo, suspicious, investigated why such a promising company was being sold so urgently. He discovered that the franchise stores were failing. Comparing reports, he realized HK Investment Fund knew these stores would go bankrupt within 2 years, hence the inflated offer to offload them quickly. He told Yan-A he would inform Sung-jo, but didn't. Sung-jo overheard Yan-A discussing the issue with a colleague and realized Ho-woo was keeping secrets from him. Meanwhile, Jae-hwan and Ho-woo inspected Sangha Village. Back at Tail, Jae-hwan told Ho-woo he wasn't needed for the contract signing, wanting to secure the credit for his wife. Yan-A, finding the accelerated deal suspicious, questioned Ho-woo's plan. He cryptically replied that auditors weren't inherently righteous, infuriating Yan-A, who accused him of betraying their client. Sung-jo, overhearing their conversation, appeared. Both were unhappy with the other's secrecy. Sung-jo told Ho-woo that Jisoo wasn't to blame, it was a standard exit strategy. Ho-woo agreed, but Sung-jo sensed something was off. They both suspected something more was at play. Sung-jo investigated HK Investments partners, uncovering irregularities. Ho-woo also realized HK Investments' true purpose, money laundering. Yan-A was staying at a luxury hotel when she encountered Jisoo. Sung-jo arrived, warning Jisoo about the dangers of her actions. Impressed by his deduction skills, she told him to mind his own business. Overhearing this, Yana suddenly understood Ho-woo's plan to sabotage the deal at the last minute, and in favor of Chairman Lee. Coincidentally, Sung-jo reached the same conclusion. Early the next morning, Ho-woo waited outside Chairman Lee's house. Yan-A arrived, informing him that Chairman Lee was already at the airport. They rushed to the airport, where Ho-woo intercepted Chairman Lee, preventing him from signing the contract. Chairman Lee argued that Jae-gyun had assured him the contract was sound. Ho-woo, betraying Jae-gyun, claimed he was either unaware of the truth or deliberately concealing it. Chairman Lee halted the deal. Jae-hwan and his wife's efforts were wasted. Sung-jo arrived too late. Chairman Lee told him that Ho-woo had already informed him. Leaving the airport, Sung-jo saw Ho-woo and Yan-A. They exchanged knowing smiles. Jae-gyun was furious about the failed deal. Jae-hwan, even angrier, wanted to attack Ho-woo, but his wife intervened. Chairman Lee messaged Ho-woo, requesting a meeting upon his return. The matter wasn't over. While organizing documents, Yan-A made another discovery. The KKB franchise agreements didn't include the pre-freezing technology patent. Ho-woo investigated, finding that HK Investment held numerous patents. Sung-jo gave them his research, asking them to identify who held the usage rights to HK Investment's patents. They discovered the rights holders were all influential figures. They realized Jisoo was building a network of powerful connections. Jisoo met with a congressman, offering him the KKB patent. The congressman's district housed the nation's largest food production company, which was seeking to bribe him. Jisoo proposed a legal way to funnel money through patent royalties, disguised as orders placed with companies designated by the congressman. Furthermore, transferring the patent to his son would legally resolve inheritance and gift tax issues. The congressman, intrigued, agreed to the deal. Jisoo then called someone, searching for a struggling fund manager, ideally a family man in his 40s with substantial debt, someone easily controlled. Chairman Lee's younger brother approached Sungjo, demanding repayment for the auction incident, wanting him to acquire Sangha Group bonds. Ho-woo was reviewing financial reports in the data room when Yan-A startled him. She offered to collaborate, claiming she wanted to fight for love. Unwilling to put her at risk, Ho-woo declined, using her impulsive work style as an excuse. Offended, Yan-A argued, but they were interrupted. Ho-woo pulled her into a corner to hide. The proximity flustered Yan-A. Their colleagues entered, gossiping about Ho-woo. Unable to tolerate it, Yana defended him, surprising their colleagues. Realizing her outburst, she quickly left. Jisoo's deal with the congressman hinged on passing the Financial Services Commission bill. At the upcoming National Assembly hearing, she recorded a video of the congressman accepting a bribe. Ho-woo and Sung-jo discussed Jisoo's motives for cultivating these connections. Sung-yeon confronted Ho-woo, who explained that only a failed deal would allow her to gain auditing rights for Sangha Group. This was his payback. Intrigued, she asked about his motives. He claimed Tail had wronged him. A waiter, overhearing them, relayed the information. This was part of Ho-woo's plan. He knew Jae-gyun had informants and wanted him to believe this was his true motivation. Jae-gyun summoned Ho-woo, accusing him of fabricating the KKB report and sabotaging the deal to curry favor with the Sangha Group. Already aware of the truth from his informants, Jae-gyun fell for Ho-woo's trap, believing he was trying to drive a wedge between him and Chairman Lee. Ho-woo's real goal was to gain Chairman Lee's trust. Jae-gyun didn't fire Ho-woo, but stripped him of all responsibilities, barring him from any important projects, and warning him against further trouble. Leaving Jae-gyun's office, Ho-woo encountered Chairman Lee and immediately reported Jae-gyun's deception. Chairman Lee promised his support. Ho-woo tried to inquire about but Chairman Lee brushed him off, claiming ignorance of his finances. Jae-gyun hadn't fired Ho-woo because he was still useful. Manipulating both him and Chairman Lee wouldn't be easy for a newcomer. After meeting with Chairman Lee, Jae-gyun apologized, but Chairman Lee brushed it off, then called Ho-woo in, introducing him as his protege and warning Jae-gyun against mistreating him. Jae-gyun suggested Chairman Lee appoint his son as CEO to navigate the current crisis. Ho-woo, Chairman Lee's son, called his father into his office for a private conversation, separating him from Ho-woo. Sung-jo, Chairman Lee's brother, was strategizing about acquiring Sangha Group's debt when Lee Sung-ju, a longtime rival, arrived. Sung-ju questioned this unexpected alliance. Sung-ju explained, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." He wasn't targeting Sung-ju. It was revealed that Sung-ju had initially used Jae-gyun's help to oust Chairman Lee. As they left, they encountered Chairman Lee. He immediately began berating his brother. Ho-woo intervened. Later, in the restroom, Sung-ju ambushed Chairman Lee, attacking him and vowing to reclaim what was rightfully his. Enraged, Chairman Lee drove his car directly at Sung-ju. Both brothers ended up in the hospital. Ho-woo, Jisoo, and even Sung-yeon visited Chairman Lee, so was surprised to see Ho-woo there, now Chairman Lee's protege. That evening, everyone celebrated Yeo-jin's birthday. Ho-woo gave her a cake and a gift, chosen by Yeon-a, which slightly disappointed Yeo-jin. On the bus home, Ho-woo saw news of Congressman Min-yoon sick passing the hearing. Jisoo's deal was complete. Passing a police station, he saw a father picking up his son, reminding him of Mr. Jang. He looked at their picture, then returned home, determined to find more clues. Jae-hwan, arriving home with his wife and daughter, experienced vision problems. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with acute methanol poisoning, causing irreversible blindness. He saw a news report about mass methanol poisoning at a mold factory where he had recently been. Unable to access any company documents, Ho-woo received a comprehensive report on the Sangha Group from Yeon-a. He questioned her kindness, and she simply asked if a reason was necessary. Touched by her sincerity, he revealed everything, infuriating Yeon-a, who had always admired Jae-gyun. They agreed that tracing the money flow to HK Investment Fund would expose the truth and began scrutinizing Sangha Group's financials. Ho-woo discovered an anomaly. A cargo ship, previously leased by Sangha, had been purchased and registered in Hong Kong for over $20 million. Based on Jisoo's findings, This matched the amount laundered through HK investment. Such a transaction couldn't have escaped In Seung-yeon's notice as the auditor. Putting the pieces together, Ho Woo concluded that In Seung-yeon was, and Sung-jo dismissed this, arguing that Seung-yeon, his mentor, had no reason to do such a thing. Ho Woo countered, "Appearances can be deceiving." Seung-yeon, overhearing this, confronted Ho Woo. He revealed An's recent withdrawal of funds from Sangha, disguised as an insurance payment. Seung-yeon insisted the ship purchase was legitimate, and her audit was flawless. Ho Woo, convinced of her guilt, threatened to expose the person behind the HK investment fund. Seung-yeon pointed out that if she were, and she wouldn't resort to such a crude method. Exploiting her position at Tail would be far more lucrative. Yeon told Ho Woo that the ship's import records were impeccably clean, like a ghost ship. They were then assigned to a case involving a frozen food company, suspected of fraudulent collateralization on a $120 loan. Ho Woo, noticing inflated shipping costs, exposed falsified inventory records. The company owner confessed. On their way back, Yeon, impressed by Ho Woo's deduction, remarked on the simplicity of the case. Shipping requires expenses. This triggered a realization for Ho Woo. The ship purchase itself was a distraction. He rushed back to Tail to verify his theory. He called Seung-jo, promising to expose In Seung-yeon. They coordinated their approach and confronted her. Ho Woo argued that a ship purchased in Hong Kong would be an import requiring customs registration. The lack of registration indicated a temporary arrangement, with the money funneled through HK investment. He declared In Seung-yeon to be, and cornered, she admitted his findings were correct, but denied being, and claiming she was no longer involved with Sangha Group, while, and continued to withdraw funds. Sung-jo entered. Ho Woo urged Seung-yeon to tell him the truth, and left. Seung-jo demanded to know An's identity. Seung-yeon refused to disclose it. Ho Woo realized she was telling the truth. She wasn't. And, discouraged, he considered giving up. Yeon comforted him. An accidental touch flustered them both. Her heart racing, Yeon pretended to pick up documents to hide her embarrassment. Ho Woo noticed the document Yeon was holding matched one from the HK Investment Fund's patent license, provided by Seung-jo. He reviewed the report and discovered it concerned a government-funded tunnel project, soliciting private investment with a guaranteed minimum operating revenue through toll collection. If revenue fell short, the government would subsidize the difference. A lower percentage was beneficial to the public. However, the report showed an inflated 15% rate for 30 years, clearly enriching someone. Ho Woo realized what In Seung-yeon had meant. He recognized the private equity fund as the investor and the blue ink on the report as Jae-jun's. He concluded that Jae-yoon was, and Sung-jo, back in his office, noticed how a light obscured the letter 9 in Han on a document, realizing and was actually Han. Jae-yoon, retrieving a hidden phone, remarked on the opportunities presented by South Korea's economic downturn and the inevitable bankruptcies. Ho Woo wanted to tell Jisoo the truth. Yeon advised him to inform Seung-jo first. They found Seung-jo's office empty. He had gone to see Jisoo. Ho Woo called him. Seung-jo told him to review the bidding records for Sunshine Construction's patent. Only HK Investment and Sangha Group had bid. HK Investment had outbid Sangha by a mere $1,000, clearly indicating insider knowledge. This confirmed Jae-gyun's identity as, and Seung-jo revealed the truth to Jisoo. And Seung-yeon confessed to Ho Woo, explaining that she hadn't initially detected the irregularities, only realizing her mistake after the audit, but lacking the courage to confront it. Ho Woo enlisted her help to expose Jae-gyun. She agreed. Ho Woo caught Jae-gyun meeting with Sung-ju and took pictures, intending to pursue legal action. However, the penalty for financial misconduct by an accountant was a mere $3,000 fine. Yeon suggested using foreign exchange transaction laws, as illegal transfer of funds overseas carried a heavier penalty. Jae-jun discovered Jisoo had a son, a useful pawn. Jisoo witnessed Jae-jun storing a National Science Institute document in his safe. She confronted him, but he threatened her son, forcing her to comply. Leaving his office, she encountered Hyung-woo and asked him to gather information on Jae-yoon. An informant in the cafe immediately reported this to Jae-jun. With Chairman Lee's backing, Ho Woo was assigned minor tasks. Sung-jo brought him to a meeting concerning Haesong infant formula, owned by Hae-won's father. Haesong produced a specialized formula for infants with dietary restrictions. A shrinking market and declining birth rates had led to significant losses. The team inspected Haisong. Hai-Wen was on leave, assisting her father. Ho-Woo noticed a list of beneficiaries included in the special audit documents. They discussed Haisong's options. Banks wouldn't lend, and there were no new investors. Switching to standard formula production would generate profit and extend their loans, but abandon the children dependent on their specialized formula. Ho-Woo was outraged. Sung-jo acknowledged the difficult choice, but their responsibility was to save the company. Yan suggested publicizing Haisong's plight. A company prioritizing vulnerable children, even at a loss, might attract public sympathy and new investors. However, this alone wouldn't be enough. Yeo Jin was giving cow's milk to a stray cat. Her friend reminded her that cats are lactose intolerant and need special formula. This gave Ho-Woo an idea. Jae-hwan told his wife about his blindness. Hai-Wen promised to support him and their daughter. Jae-han, armed with his medical records and a list of Jae-gyun's illegal activities, including the Sunshine construction case, confronted Jae-gyun, demanding compensation and a promotion for Hai-Wen. Jae-gyun had previously used Haisong's loan to threaten Jae-hwan with a superficial investigation. Unfazed, Jae-gyun pointed out that he had never given direct orders, only suggestions. He dismissed Jae-hwan's plight and held a grudge. He ordered Hyung-woo to dispose of the incriminating documents. Hyung-woo, seeing Jae-hwan's fate, realized he was expendable and considered a betrayal. Drowning his sorrows at a bar, Hyung-woo was joined by Suk-min and Kang-hyun. Kang-hyun, now working at an asset management company, reminisced about their past when he often treated Seung-jo, Hyung-woo, and Suk-min to drinks. Hyung-woo lamented, wishing he could return to those simpler times. Suk-min, sensing trouble, asked if Jae-gyun was behind it, but Hyung-woo didn't answer, stepping outside for a smoke. Kang-hyun offered Hyung-woo support, encouraging him to confide in him. Meanwhile, Jae-gyun, exploiting Jae-hwan's vulnerability, suspended a board member. Jae-hwan pleaded with Jae-gyun to spare Hai-Wen, even offering to become his lackey. Ho-woo proposed that Haisong develop a specialized pet food line, leveraging their existing formula and catering to the booming pet market without incurring significant additional costs. Combined with positive media coverage, this could attract new investors, potentially rescuing the company. Sung-jo asked Ho-woo to prepare a detailed report. Back in his office, he noticed Ji-soo's name on the list of donors and questioned Hai-Wen. She explained that Ji-soo, a former client, had been donating to the organization since her child's recovery 5 years prior. This suggested the child could be Sung-jo's. He confronted Ji-soo, urging her to return to Hong Kong with her son and avoid further risk. She refused, determined to expose Jae-gyun. Sung-jo, accepting her decision, vowed to protect her this time, expressing his guilt over past failures and his resolve to defeat Jae-gyun. Jae-gyun informed Chairman Lee that he had acquired a substantial amount of Sangha Group stock. Chairman Lee mocked his brother's ambition, but Jae-gyun cryptically hinted at a deeper plan. Lee Sung-ju's true intention was to use Sung-ju to acquire the debt, lulling Chairman Lee into a false sense of security. He then secretly met with Jae-gyun, promising to make him CEO in exchange for his support. Jae-gyun agreed, using the asset bank to finance Sung-ju's stock acquisition, making him the largest shareholder. Sangha's stock plummeted. Chairman Lee confronted Jae-gyun. He was informed of Sung-ju's actions and his plan to call a shareholders meeting to oust him. Feigning helpless, Jae-gyun bid Chairman Lee farewell. Ho-woo showed Seung-ju photos of Seung-ju's secret meeting with 2 associates. Sung-ju realized he had been manipulated. Sung-ju had feigned one attack while secretly pursuing another. Ho-woo and Seung-ju approached Chairman Lee with a proposal. They would help him buy back enough shares to retain control in exchange for severing all ties with Jae-gyun. Meanwhile, Jae-gyun, leveraging HK Investment's stake in Sangha, pressured Ji-soo to support Seung-ju, threatening her job. She reluctantly agreed. However, Ho-woo met with Ji-soo and urged her to side with Chairman Lee. He argued that Ji-gyun held no official position within HK Investment and couldn't reveal his true identity. He encouraged her to witness Jae-gyun's downfall at the shareholders' meeting. At the meeting, Jae-gyun was confident, believing his 31% stake, combined with HK Investment's 14%, would secure control. However, Chairman Lee also held 31%. Furthermore, according to regulations, if HK Investment casts 2 votes, only the last one is counted. Chairman Lee prevailed. Ji-gyun's plan backfired. Lee Sung-ju conceded defeat, but ordered a thorough investigation into Ho-woo. Sung-jo took Ji-soo home. This time, she didn't refuse. With the crisis averted, Hai-Wen's position was reinstated. She thanked Ho-woo and Yan-a Even Jae Hwan apologized to Ho Woo, promising to repay his kindness. At the elevators, Seung Jo observed Ho Woo and Yeon A's happy interaction. Director Jin arrived, revealing his relationship with Yeon A to Ho Woo. Hyung Woo snuck into Jae-yoon's office to retrieve documents from the safe, unaware of a hidden camera. Jae-yoon, reviewing the footage and combining it with information from his informant, discovered Hyung Woo's betrayal. He tasked Hyung Woo with destroying the fabricated documents, implying he should also eliminate Jae Hwan, promising a partnership in return. Jae-yoon, however, had a backup plan. If Hyung Woo complied, his guilt would make him easier to control. If he refused, both he and Jae Hwan would be eliminated. Hyung Woo, choosing betrayal, gave some documents to Kang Yoon and informed Jisoo about Jae-yoon. However, Jae-yoon's men took Hyung Woo and Jae Hwan to a remote warehouse. Hyung Woo managed to contact Ho Woo for help. Ho Woo alerted Seung Jo and rushed to the warehouse. Jae-yoon's men forced Hyung Woo to kill Jae Hwan, but he insisted that destroying the documents was enough. Seeing Hyung Woo's defiance, Jae-yoon's men knocked both men unconscious, locked them in the warehouse, set them on fire, and blocked the exit. Ho Woo arrived and began forcing the door open, but Jae-yoon's men attacked him. Jae-yoon watched the scene unfold on CCTV, a chilling smile on his face. Ho Woo broke through the door. Hyung Woo urged him to save Jae Hwan first. As Ho Woo pulled Jae Hwan out, Seung Jo arrived, subduing the henchmen and rushing in to save Hyung Woo. However, the fire intensified, causing an explosion. Hyung Woo didn't survive. At the memorial, everyone was outraged by Jae-yoon's presence. Si-young revealed that Jae-yoon had funded scholarships for numerous students using Sanga's money. These individuals, now occupying influential positions across various industries, were fiercely loyal to him. Jae-yoon shed crocodile tears at Hyung Woo's memorial. Jae Hwan, awakening from a coma, learned of Hyung Woo's sacrifice. Despite his injuries, he attended the memorial to pay his respects, intending to report Jae-yoon for instigating murder. Seung Jo and Ho Woo stopped him, arguing it wouldn't be enough to bring Jae-yoon down. They proposed he become an inside informant. Following their advice, Jae Hwan met with Jae-yoon, who promised him a bright future in exchange for loyalty. Jae Hwan requested to return to Tail before losing his sight completely. Jae-yoon agreed. He then ordered Sang-hyun to wipe Hyung Woo's computer and dispose of any incriminating files. Lee Sung-ju contacted Jae-yoon, ready to move against Chairman Lee. Since learning Yeon A's true identity, Ho Woo had distanced himself, avoiding her calls. Yana, hurt and assuming he was upset about her deception, arranged a meeting. Ho Woo confessed his insecurities about their different backgrounds, an orphan versus a bank director's daughter. Yeon A explained that she had hidden her identity to avoid creating distance between them. Reassured, Ho Woo confessed his feelings, promising to stay by her side. Yeon A blushed. Jisoo received a new assignment, selling a struggling 2P lending company owned by HK Investment. Her assistant advised against interfering, as Tail had been instructed to handle the sale. Jae-yoon orchestrated an asset transfer by selling the top lending company to the asset bank, telling Director Jin it would boost his bank's stock price and secure his position. Director Jin was tempted. Following Hyung Woo's death, Sang-hyun, though not yet fully loyal to Jae-yoon, was tasked with handling the sale, becoming another pawn in Jae-yoon's scheme. A bank association member warned Yeon A about the asset bank's involvement. Meanwhile, Seung Jo and Ho Woo found Hyung Woo's office ransacked. Kang Hyun gave Seung Jo the data Hyung Woo had left behind, a USB drive containing detailed files on companies exploited by Jae-yoon. Jisoo received a copy, along with a list of Tail Scholarship recipients. She noticed a forensic accountant, BM, on the list, raising her suspicions. She showed the list to Seung Jo, who was surprised by Jae-yoon's extensive network and the presence of a forensic accountant among the scholarship recipients. Jisoo said she was investigating. Lee Sung-ju and Jae-yoon collaborated to trap Chairman Lee's son, Lee Bo-sung. Sung-ju instructed a mutual friend to manipulate Bo-sung into restructuring his company for a stock pledge with a high collateralization ratio, ensuring liquidation if the stock price plummeted. Despite his reservations, Bo-sung signed. The friend then took Bo-sung to a karaoke bar, got him drunk, and planted an underage girl in his room before calling the police. Bo-sung was arrested. Chairman Lee bailed him out, but was furious. The scandal hit the news, sending Sanga's stock price crashing. Bo-sung's pledged shares were liquidated, with Sung-ju as the buyer, making him Sanga's largest shareholder. He then reported Chairman Lee's wrongdoings to the authorities. Chairman Lee was arrested, and Sung Ju became Sangha's new chairman. Ho Woo received an international package containing a key. He traced it to a courier company and, with Yeo Jin's help, reviewed security footage, discovering the sender was Hyung Woo. Ho Woo questioned why Hyung Woo had left such a cryptic clue. Seung Jo, understanding his friend, explained that Hyung Woo wanted him to both find and not find the answer, ultimately hoping he would understand its meaning. Ho Woo found the answer in Hyung Woo's old locker, a collection of recordings of his meetings with Ji-jun, meticulously organized by date. Cross-referencing the recordings with other documents, he found Mr. Jang's original autopsy report. The recording revealed Ji-jun ordering Hyung Woo to eliminate Mr. Jang. The original report confirmed the cause of death as a stab wound to the artery, not a fall. Meanwhile, Ji-soo found Dr. Huang, the now alcoholic former forensic accountant, who confessed to altering Mr. Jang's autopsy report under Ji-jun's duress. Jae-jun made a secretive phone call, his expression darkening afterward. Ho Woo and Ji-soo shared their findings, both feeling guilty for not stopping Jae-jun sooner. Ho Woo vowed to make him pay. Ji-soo narrowly escaped an assassination attempt orchestrated by Jae-yoon. Sung Jo arrived at her ransacked hotel room and fought off the assassin, who tried to take Ji-soo hostage. Sung Jo unhesitatingly disarmed and subdued him. He urged Ji-soo to relocate. The next day, Ho Woo noticed Sung Jo's injuries, realizing Jae-yoon had targeted Ji-soo. Yan-A arrived, reporting Ji-jun's dealings with Jisun Bank. Ho Woo added that Ji-yoon was selling a 2P lending company to the bank. Sensing a hidden agenda based on Sang-hun's behavior, leaving work, he saw Ji-yoon talking to a stranger and took pictures. Ho Woo took Ji-soo home to her family, asking them to arrange a safe place for her. Later, he identified the stranger as a financial supervisory service official. The team gathered, trying to decipher Jae-jun's plan. Lacking sufficient evidence, Seung Jo decided to participate in the tube company auction, hoping a competing bidder would expose Jae-yun's plan. Kang Hyun offered to have his asset management company participate, determined to stop Jae-yun. Jae-yun contacted the financial supervisory service official, implying he should overlook the tube company's losses. The official, accepting a bribe disguised as a patent royalty, agreed to turn a blind eye. Ho Woo's team obtained the tube-pop company's financials, revealing a long-running Ponzi scheme with a growing deficit, making the company a ticking time bomb. And Seung Yeon and Kang Hyun joined the investigation. Seung Yeon pointed out that acquiring the failing 2P company would jeopardize Jisun Bank's BIS ratio, Bank for International Settlements, a measure of a bank's risk-weighted assets to its capital. A compromised BIS ratio could lead to the bank's liquidation. Ho Woo revealed Ji-yoon's connection to the FSS official. They realized Ji-yoon's plan to acquire Jisun Bank using the failing tube company as leverage. Yan-A alerted her father, who was in a meeting with Jae-yoon, and gave a non-committal response. Ho Woo told Sung Jo the truth about Mr. Jang's death, devastating him. He sought out Ji-soo, apologizing again. She cautioned against rash actions, warning him about Jae-yoon's ruthlessness. Ignoring her advice, Seung Jo confronted his father. Jae-yoon denied the murder, citing a lack of evidence, and coldly stated that he was pursuing the chairmanship for Seung Jo. Unmoved, Seung Jo declared he didn't want to be the son of a murderer. Jae-yoon retorted that being his son was the best thing that ever happened to Seung Jo. Their relationship was irrevocably broken. Yan-A called Seung Jo. Jisun Bank had acquired the 2P company. Meanwhile, Lee Sung-ju obtained Ho Woo's file, uncovering a shocking truth. He arranged a meeting with Ho Woo, revealing that he knew Ho Woo was seeking revenge against Jae-yoon and dropping a bombshell. Jae-yoon was also responsible for the deaths of Ho Woo's parents. 20 years ago, Ho Woo's father, a Sangha Group construction manager, discovered Chairman Lee's embezzlement, which led to substandard materials and compromised structural integrity. Ji-yoon, as the accountant, falsified records to cover it up. Ho Woo's father, who repeatedly ignored despite his pleas for reinforcements, contacted the media. During a site inspection, he noticed widening cracks. Young Ho Woo and his mother arrived, searching for him. Jae-yoon, sensing danger, exited the building just as it collapsed, burying Ho Woo's parents alive. The young Ho Woo witnessed everything, powerless to help. Enraged, Ho Woo confronted Jae-yoon, who calmly denied everything, citing a lack of evidence, and mocked his helplessness. Distraught, Ho Woo wandered the streets, encountering a group of thugs. Yo Jin and Hee Sam rescued him. He became withdrawn and unresponsive, worrying Yo Jin. Yan-A questioned her father about his involvement with Jae-yoon. Director Jin confessed his helplessness, admitting Jae-jun had leverage over him, forcing his cooperation despite his regret. Everyone was anxious, but Sung-jo remained calm, lost in thought. Suk-min urged him to take charge, but he said the bank wouldn't collapse immediately and he needed time to think. After a sleepless night, Seung-jo formulated a plan and assigned tasks. Accountants, discussing Hyung-woo at a restaurant, mentioned rumors of Jae-gyun's involvement in his death. An elderly gentleman overheard, recognizing Jen's name. He was Tail's chairman. Suspecting the cafe worker who relayed information to Ji-yun, the chairman followed her and approached her at a bus stop near her home. Ho-woo hadn't been to work for days, and Yane couldn't reach him. Yo-jin's grandmother, worried, left him voicemails. He wandered the streets like a ghost. Jae-won told Kang-hyun about Jae-gyun's plan to acquire the bank, which seemed impossible. He began investigating Jae-gyun's managed companies. Jae-gyun launched his attack. Sang-hyun instructed Tail scholarship recipients to spread rumors about Jisun Bank and leak damaging information to the media, eroding public trust and triggering a bank run. Jisoo found Sung-jo by the lake, urging him to stop Jae-gyun. She reminded him of his promise to defeat Jae-gyun if she waited. She declared she couldn't wait any longer. Reinvigorated, Sung-jo returned to Tail, confronting Ho-woo, who finally confessed the truth about his parents' deaths. Sung-jo echoed Ho-woo's earlier words about holding the perpetrator accountable. Motivated, Ho-woo listed Jae-jun's crimes, vowing to bring him down. The rumors triggered a run on Jisun Bank. However, the situation was manageable, as corporate clients remained calm. Jisoo intervened, securing government support for Jisun Bank, calming the panic, and disrupting Jae-jun's plan. Furious, he initiated his backup plan. Sung-jo and Kang-hyun met at a cafe, discussing transferring the troubled top company to Kang-hyun's asset management firm, mitigating public concern. The cafe worker observed them thoughtfully. Ho-woo returned to Tail. A relieved Yane embraced him. He comforted her, and then met with Sung-jo, who encouraged him to pursue his agenda, offering his full support. Lee Sung-ju told Jae-gyun he had discovered something interesting, which he would reveal in due time. He proposed restructuring the finances of Sung-ju's children's charity, exploiting its non-profit status for tax benefits and positive publicity. In exchange, he wanted his son on the charity's board. They agreed. Ho-woo, buying coffee, witnessed the cafe worker spill a drink. His immediate concern was her well-being. Sung-yeon called him over. He asked for a meeting with the chairman. She said the chairman wasn't easily accessible. He declared he would make the chairman seek him out. Back in his office, he posted a message on the company forum. Lee Sung-ju intercepted him, demanding to know why he wasn't acting on his desire for revenge. Ho-woo questioned Sung-ju's motives for manipulating him into confronting Jae-yun. Sung-ju admitted that Jae-gyun had colluded with his brother to oust him, and he wanted revenge. Sang-hyun, overhearing this, informed Jae-gyun, who was not known for his forgiveness. If Lee Sung-ju was courting his destruction, Jae-jun wouldn't show any mercy. Investigating Sangha Group's financials, Ho-woo and Sung-jo discovered consistent donations to the Children's Charity Fund, which also held a 4.9% stake in Sangha, raising suspicions. They obtained the charity's donor list, and Ho-woo identified 5 companies making identical donations at the same time each year. Visiting their registered addresses, they discovered they were all shell corporations. Jae-hwan, investigating further, found these companies were managed by Jae-gyun. Their meticulously crafted accounts concealed their true nature. Yan-a, puzzled by Jae-gyun's excessive charitable donations, collapsed from exhaustion. Ho-woo covered her with his coat. He then discovered the charity was supposedly funding a high school construction project overseas. Searching the location online, he found only wasteland. He shared his findings with Yan-a, who had just woken up. Jae-gyun was laundering money through the charity, disguising infrastructure projects as charitable works to avoid taxes. Their overseas locations made verification difficult. Ho-woo decided to investigate Jae-gyun's assets. Jisoo provided financial data from HK Investment, which Ho-woo asked Yan-a to analyze. He then posted another message on the company forum, hinting at someone targeting the bank. The chairman finally appeared, summoning Ho-woo to a private meeting. Jae-jun warned Kang-hyun to stay away from Jisun Bank, further jeopardizing its B's ratio. Sang-hyun informed Jae-gyun that the funds had been transferred. Jae-jun instructed him to arrange a meeting with the scholarship recipients and leak incriminating information about the charity, severing all ties. The next day, authorities raided the charity. Lee Sung-ju, implicated through his son's board membership, knew Jae-gyun was behind it and confronted him, threatening to expose his money laundering scheme. Unfazed, Jae-gyun revealed the investigator was one of his pawns. Jae-gyun framed Lee Sung-ju for arson, manipulating records to make him the warehouse owner, and leaking information about a fabricated investigation into Sung-ju's illegal fundraising. Sung-ju, checkmated, was arrested. Jae-gyun warned him that instigating Ho-woo's revenge had consequences. He could destroy Sung-ju or make him chairman, but he could also imprison him. Sung-ju, trapped, threatened to take others down with him. With Sung-ju neutralized, Jae-gyun targeted Jisun Bank, ordering companies to withdraw their funds and leaking the information. This triggered a massive bank run, plummeting Jisun's BES ratio to 6.91%, making it a liquidation target. Sung-jo realized the top company was a smokescreen. The bank was the real prize. Ho-woo discovered a survivor named Yoon-moo, enlisted in the charity's documents related to the building collapse that killed his parents. He visited the address, surprised to find the cafe worker answering the door, no longer pretending to be deaf. She confessed to being a Tail Scholarship recipient, tasked by Jae-gyun with gathering information. Ho-woo's visit and revelation about the building collapse exposed Jae-gyun's manipulation. Jisun Bank's staff predicted they would run out of funds within 3 days. Some suggested selling government bonds, a short-term solution with long-term consequences. Director Jin was desperate. A distraught Yeon sought comfort from Ho-woo, expressing her frustration with her father's actions. Ho-woo shared his past and the truth about Mr. Jang's death. Yeon understood his motives. He couldn't let Jae-gyun destroy any more lives. She drank her sorrows away and passed out. Ho-woo asked Jisoo to look after her. She pleaded with Jisoo for help, arguing that Mr. Jang was a victim of Jae-gyun, and they shared a common enemy. Jisoo was still resentful of Jisun Bank's inaction after her father's death, but she agreed that they needed to unite against Jae-gyun. Ho-woo brought Yeon and Jisoo to meet with the chairman, revealing Jae-gyun's control of a private equity fund and his impending takeover of Jisun Bank, posing a threat to the national economy. The chairman, alarmed, promised to help. Jae-gyun met with the Financial Supervisory Service chairman, proposing HK Investment's acquisition of Jisun Bank. The chairman, indebted to Jae-gyun, readily agreed. Jae-gyun's plan proceeded smoothly, quickly acquiring over 50% of Jisun Bank's shares. Sung-jo, accepting the inevitability of the acquisition, focused on identifying the optimal stage to intervene during the sale process. Yeon told Sung-jo about Ho-woo's past. Those eavesdropping outside finally understood his motive for joining Tail. They decided to dedicate their after-work hours to saving Jisun Bank. Sung-jo proposed replenishing the bank's depleted deposits. If other banks provided support, the crisis could be averted, as the withdrawn funds would simply be deposited elsewhere. A competitor's misfortune was their gain. However, asking for help was a long shot. Still, it was their best option. They began arranging meetings with other bank executives. Ho-woo, meanwhile, leaked information to both domestic and international media, exposing Jae-gyun's actions. He and Yeon informed Director Jin of Jae-gyun's scheme. Director Jin, realizing he had been played, was offered a solution: publicly confess his mistakes. Ho-woo would handle the rest. Sang-hyun, noticing suspicious after-hours activity at Tile, informed Jae-gyun. Meanwhile, the cafe worker provided Ho-woo with a false alibi. Jae-gyun, sensing something amiss, suspended Ho-woo, who, anticipating this, used his remaining time to continue his investigation. Sung-jo and Kang-hyun, drinking their sorrows away, faced a grim reality. HK Investment Fund was Jisun Bank's largest shareholder. Once their ownership was approved, Jae-gyun would control the bank. Their only hope was the Financial Supervisory Service, rejecting HK Investment's application. Jisoo delivered the bad news: the FSS was compromised. However, she had a plan. On the day of the approval hearing, Jae-gyun abruptly postponed it indefinitely, without explanation. Jisoo and Yeon were puzzled. Without the hearing, Jae-gyun couldn't control the bank. Sung-yeon and Sung-jo understood his motive: buying time to replace Jisoo with a loyalist. Sung-yeon knew they couldn't let Jae-gyun dictate the timeline. Their best option was to force an immediate hearing. Ho-woo, enlisting the chairman's help, secured a hearing for the next day. Jisoo met with the FSS chairman, pointing out that HK Investment Fund's industrial capital exceeded 25% of their total capital, violating regulations for bank ownership. The chairman, assuming she was urging approval, promised to expedite the process. Instead, Jisoo demanded they reject the application, threatening to expose their bribery. Meanwhile, Seung-jo, addressing a meeting of bank executives, argued that HK Investment Fund's acquisition of Jisun Bank would set a dangerous precedent, putting other banks at risk. He proposed an alliance for mutual support during crises, preventing hostile takeovers. They agreed. Early the next morning, Director Jin held a press conference, exposing HK investment scheme and confessing his greed. At the hearing, Ji-soo testified against the HK investment fund. A furious Ji-yun arrived, only to learn the application was rejected. He assumed he could simply reschedule the hearing, and that Ji-soo's testimony would backfire. However, Sung-jo revealed that Jisun Bank's BIS ratio had risen above 8%, making it ineligible for acquisition. He urged his father to sell his shares and left with Ji-soo. Jae-gyun was defeated. Everyone celebrated. Hee-sam told Yo-jin's grandmother that Ho-woo was in love with Yeon-ae. Yo-jin's grandmother's outburst revealed their mutual affection. Both were embarrassed, but no longer hid their feelings. Sung-jo, sensing the shift, discreetly gave them space. During a weekend getaway, Ji-soo told Sung-jo she was turning herself in. She had been gathering evidence in Hong Kong and was ready to deliver the final blow to Jae-gyun. Sung-jo informed Ho-woo, who respected her decision, and reaffirmed his commitment to bringing Jae-gyun down. Ho-woo compiled evidence of Jae-gyun's crimes, securing witnesses and contacting media outlets, severely damaging Taeil's reputation. The chairman demanded an explanation. Ho-woo urged him to face the truth. The chairman convened a board meeting, and at Sung-yeon's urging, Jae-gyun was dismissed. Ho-woo submitted evidence to the prosecutor's office. Ji-soo confessed, revealing the truth about Hyung-woo's death. Jae-gyun remained defiant. Sung-jo delivered the final blow, providing evidence of Jae-gyun's money laundering through the Sangha group. Jae-gyun was arrested. Ji-soo, due to her cooperation, received a suspended sentence. She moved in with Sung-jo, rekindling their relationship. Jae-gyun, sentenced to 10 years, remained unfazed, even smiling cryptically. In prison, he leveraged his expertise in debt management to build connections and manipulate funds. Planning his next move, Ho-woo investigated Jae-gyun's shell companies. At Jihan Management, he found the legal representative bleeding on the floor and called an ambulance. At the hospital, he discovered the victim's guardian was the cafe worker, and the victim was Yoon Moo-in. She explained that Yoon Moo-in suffered from depression and had attempted suicide before, thanking Ho-woo for saving him. She then revealed the location of Ho-woo's parents' graves. Visiting the cemetery, Ho-woo finally found closure. The chairman offered Sung-jo a partnership, which he declined. Back at the office, he encountered Director Jin. After a brief conversation, Director Jin entered the elevator and met Ho-woo. He realized Ho-woo was the errand boy Yeon-ae liked and approved of Ho-woo's character. After investigating his parents' deaths, Ho-woo became withdrawn. Sung-jo, noticing this, encouraged him to stay strong. Yeon-ae, sensing Ho-woo's distress, asked him what was wrong. He confessed his disillusionment. Avenging his parents hadn't brought the expected peace, leaving him feeling lost. Yeon-ae, holding his hand, assured him of her support. Ji-soo took Sung-jo to meet her grandmother, who enthusiastically interrogated them about their plans for grandchildren. Flustering Sung-jo, worried that Ho-woo was being used, Yo-jin confronted Yeon-ae, choosing a more feminine outfit for the occasion. She directly questioned Yeon-ae's motives for being with someone like Ho-woo. Yeon-ae calmly revealed her background, explaining that despite her privilege, she had always lacked genuine companionship, something Yo-jin took for granted. Yo-jin, reflecting on her history with Ho-woo, realized the truth in Yeon-ae's words, dropping her guard and befriending her. Meanwhile, Ho-woo noticed irregularities with Jihan Corporation. A call from the prosecutor confirmed his suspicions. He told Sung-jo that Jihan, a supposedly large import-export company, had no labor costs in its financials, indicating fabricated records, likely orchestrated by Jae-gyun. The prosecutor confirmed Jae-gyun's large-scale money laundering through Jihan, but his ultimate goal remained unclear. A news report provided the answer. Hai Trong-bak Bank had collapsed due to a massive bank run. Sung-jo, watching the news, realized that acquiring a foreign bank like Hai Trong-bak would circumvent many legal hurdles. He felt a sense of foreboding. Jae-gyun didn't appeal his sentence. Ho-woo realized his endgame, a pardon. Double jeopardy would prevent future prosecution for the same crimes. A short prison sentence followed by a pardon would set him free. As predicted, news of Jae-gyun's pardon soon arrived, rendering their efforts futile. Ho-woo and Sung-jo visited Jihan Corporation, finally understanding Jae-gyun's scheme. The laundered funds were intended for acquiring Hai Trong-bak Bank. Back at Taeil, Sung-jo urged Sang-hyun to abandon Jae-gyun, but he remained loyal, reporting that Ji-soo had left HK Investment and that Sung-jo's banking alliance was thriving. Jae-gyun, therefore, had chosen Hosu Bank. a non-member, as his next target. Ho Woo, informing Sung Jo, realized Jae-jun's strategy, using one bank to acquire another, simplified the process, and offered greater control. Hosu Bank, seeking help, contacted Sung Jo. He invited them to join the alliance. They readily agreed. Ho Woo asked Hosu Bank to check Yoon Moo-in's account and questioned the cafe worker, who managed Moo-in's online banking, but had noticed nothing unusual. Yan A confirmed that Jae-jun had used Moo-in's identity to open an anonymous account, accessible only by the account holder in person. Kang Hyun confirmed that no one but the account holder could access the funds in an anonymous account. Furthermore, if the account holder became incapacitated, the account would be frozen and only accessible through inheritance after death. Yoon Moo-in's coma prevented Jae-jun from accessing the funds. Aware of this, Jae-jun instructed Sang Hyun to prepare for the auction, devising his solution. Meanwhile, Sung Jo received calls from numerous small and medium-sized banks, requesting alliance membership. This puzzled him. No one besides himself and Ho Woo had anticipated Jae-yun's moves. Who had contacted these banks? Thwarted, Jae-yun shifted his focus to acquiring securities firms. Ho Woo and Sung Jo went to the securities firm auction, but Sang Hyun intercepted them. He had secretly switched Jae-jun's bid, causing him to lose. He then revealed Jae-jun's plan to build a financial empire using banking and securities licenses as a foundation. He also provided Sung Jo with the anonymous account contract, insufficient for prosecution, but enough to disrupt Jae-jun's plans. Sang Hyun confessed he was avenging Hyun Woo, using his position to gather incriminating evidence. Sung Jo submitted the documents to the prosecutor, further hindering Jae-jun's access to the anonymous account funds. Ho Woo discovered and reported hidden cash at Jihan Corporation, leading to its seizure. Jae-jun's resources were depleted, forcing him to postpone his plans. Time passed. Ho Woo became a senior accountant, mentoring recruits. Ji-soo reunited with her son, and Sung Jo started a venture capital firm. Ho Woo brought her promising investment opportunities, forming a powerful partnership. Sung Jo left Tile for a new firm. Director Jin urged Yan A to join the bank, but she had found her calling in venture capital. He gave her his blessing, accepting Ho Woo as her lover. Yan A was overjoyed. Jae-hwan and Hai-won left Tale, opening their accounting firm. Jae-hwan's eyesight had recovered, and Hai-won was expecting their second child. Sam, ever resourceful, secured a patent, ensuring his future prosperity. Jae-gyun learned about Sung Jo and Ji-soo's son. He visited the boy's preschool, watching him play from a distance. Removing his glasses, he seemed like a normal grandfather, enjoying a brief moment of familial warmth. However, putting his glasses back on, he reverted to his cold, ruthless persona, leaving without acknowledging his grandson. He encountered Sung Jo and Ji-soo, neither side speaking. Jae-jun then gathered his associates, deciding to invest in real estate investment trusts, REITs. Ho Woo, learning this, called Sung Jo, proposed an investigation. Sung Jo, already planning the same, agreed. The three began a new battle. The story ends here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.